I don't know.
I just think I think what he got like the people got to him. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
think
mean, I
yeah.
don't blame you for thinking that, but like, it's wild that it got to that stage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like I
damn.
saw somebody saying it the other day. By the way, we're going back live. Just gonna give it a second, make sure it doesn't cut out. But to finish that thought, somebody
Yeah,
was talking about the other day. They were like, "Who would have thought that Markel Fultz in the year 2023
yeah,
would be a
yeah,
way more
yeah.
valuable player than Ben Simmons?" And that's just
Facts,
how it went.
facts. My thing that I just can't seem to wrap my head around, and this out of everything, even if he never took a jumper, right?
Hmm.
What happened to your dunk package, my guy? Seriously, where did it go? Like, you are 6'9", 6'10", playing point.
Who knows? Who knows?
Y'all can't see me raising my hands right now, but right now they're up in the sky because I don't get it. I don't get it, man. Yo, I remember watching some of his highlights from like his first couple years. He would have some situations sometimes. Damn it, bruh, and look powerful.
Mhm.
What happened? Your athleticism didn't go nowhere. Even if you ain't shooting no jumpers, man, this man shouldn't be like scoring no damn 4 points in a game or 3 points in a game or.
I feel like it just got to him because you know how everybody's like, "Oh, he can't shoot," and then he's like, "Damn, I really can't shoot," and then people start adjusting to his game, and then he's like, "There's a lot of people to paint. What do I do?" And then
We had that process like that. That's funny.
What's going on, Devin?
Damn, I can't shoot.
Yeah, we're taking a random pivot into some sports talk because we had some technical issues.
Hey
The
yo.
first stream went down, so we're back up now. But yeah, we're talking about Ben Simmons and what
it's the
happened to
NBA
this man.
2K special. We're talking about NBA 2K players that were once OP and now not anymore because they're dog trash.
There with a fucking 48 rating now, yo. Trash.
Bro, Ben
So
Simmons
basically,
solo so bad.
welcome to the Expansion Pack podcast, where we unpack not only gaming news but some little bit of sports news too. You know, talking a little bit of trash about them their Nets.
I like the Nets. I just don't like Ben Simmons. I actually really like that team. They just need a couple more pieces, I think, and they'll be all right. But
I'm so glad they traded like they got Michael Bridges or Mikael Bridges.
Macau.
that's it, my guy.
Yes.
That's it.
Mikael. Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying name whoever you want because I own him in my fantasy team. So like he's
That don't mean you could just
you
say
know
whatever you
I'm
want to
not saying
say.
I'm joking. That's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
What kind of Jerry Jones energy is that, bro? Get out of here.
Yo, he's
Now
right now. Actually, if I'm being,
Mikael Bridges. You know what I'm saying? He's a dog, man. I'm glad I drafted him like in fantasy and kept him because he's looking like that man. He's looking like him.
yeah, it's
All
pretty
right,
good.
guys. So it looks like the stream is stable for now. So
I hope so.
for those of y'all who are here, this is our 100th episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Um, yeah, we're gonna just keep talking about the BS we've been talking about. Really, these last 100 episodes. So celebrating. Um,
Yeah, man.
so what we were trying to talk about before the stream cut out initially, and I guess this might satisfy our buffer, unless you Chris, unless you got another one for us.
I actually didn't, so this is perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Works.
Perfect. So what Chris was saying was three games in particular that we believe should be brought back from the dead. Remade, remade, not remastered,
Mm-hmm.
remade, built from the ground up. Bring it back to relevancy. So my three games were, and I remember this time, it's Castlevania, Legacy of Kain, and this game called Shadow Complex, which is kind of like a newer version of Contra. So I'll basically just say Contra. But yeah, Chris, I know you had yours, and then we were gonna get to Manny. So Chris,
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
my three were Splinter Cell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that a couple different times. All of them. We need all them Johns because it's been so long that I think a good majority of them could use a touch up. And yeah, I'll buy it. Shit, you give me that shit in the package. You give me that shit single. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However y'all got to do it. I won't even look at any of it as a cash grab. You know what I'm saying? I'm a happy fan. I'm sure we're all happy fan. We gonna buy that shit, man.
I'll buy that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll buy that.
Splinter Cell. The first three Metal Gear Solids. We need them, Johns, for sure. I was saying off cam. I tried to go back and play part 2. I can't be out here pressing no square to shoot nothing, man. That shit not gonna work for you.
Yeah, man, it's too old fashioned.
Explain to y'all how stupid my hand felt doing this to shoot it. Nah, that ain't it. Gotta update that, John. And then lastly, Max Payne. Max Payne remakes, or whatever they're gonna be called, whenever it happens. Because yeah, that game, it's probably super, super dated. It's not like I've tried to play it recently, but like I could just tell it's been a while. And kind of had those GTA 3 graphics. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't really that nice, but it was a good game. You know,
It was like blocks.
Back in the days, it was hitting, but
Looking like Minecraft Steve back in the day.
I can't see him, but yeah, the Minecraft hands for sure. Definitely. Honorable mention, Manhunt. Sorry. All right, go ahead.
Oh my god. I'm surprised that wasn't the first thing you said. You've been fucking
I've been banging that
the
one
table
for
for that for
a
minute.
Yeah.
You're talking more like realistic stuff, you know?
I know. You're right. Damn, actually, I know we talked about this before, but I'm thinking about that Manhunt shit and like, just make it a BR. Just make it fucking.
Oh, I'm telling you, that shit would be so lit, especially if it's all crazy like it used to be. Oh man, bro, what? I just think about the shorts and the clips and the TikToks that you would see off of this game. Mad funny, cause that game. Oh please, please. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Manny. I'm taking up your space.
Nah, it's all good. You know, I'm still like figuring out my 3. Like, what is it called? I kind of know like my 3 per se. Like the third one's a little like iffy, I think, but I mean it's still kind of like a solid pick in my opinion. But like I gotta go with my first one since we're talking about Max Payne. We gotta go with like the Walmart brand Max Payne. But I wouldn't go consider it the Walmart brand Max Payne because it was still like a fun game back when I played it. But like the original like Dead to Rights game.
Oh,
that game, man, that game was so like corny but so fun.
love that.
So I would love to see that. So we get that. Let's get that. That's right. Second game, Dino Crisis. I would love to see that in a modern like Resident Evil-esque remake. You know, that they're I don't know, like you know how Resident Evil the remake plays.
Yeah.
We got Resident Evil 4 coming up soon too. I can't wait to see how that plays. It's the last one. The last one. Jet Set Radio. There we go. Jet Set Radio.
What you mean? You just got it. You just got it.
No. Hi-Fi Rush is not Jet Set Radio. It ain't the roller skating game I want. But, you know, it gives me hope because, like, you know, that game's popular and, that, you know, the art style and all that kind of stuff. We need to see more games like that. Jet Set Radio back in the days was very unique with its art style. It was a fun, dope game with, you know, the rollerblading around, spray paint, all that fun stuff. Bring that back.
Word.
You think they would they would really lean into the tricks aspect of it if they like went back and did the Jet Set Radio thing, like, because there was a lot of the graffiti stuff in there too, right? If I remember correctly. Like I want it to be like I basically just want them to make like a Tony Hawk style like roller skating game, like where you're doing crazy shit.
I remember playing a rollerblading game, man. Like there was this, I forgot what it's called. I don't know if it was like inline skate. I don't know. It was something like that. It was like a rollerblading Tony Hawk style game, and I remember playing that as a kid, and that was a fun game too. I'm not gonna lie. There's not too many rollerblading out there, so.
Y'all didn't like the Matt Hoffman game? Next ones.
I played a couple Matt Hoffmans.
Bro.
Yeah.
They were straight.
It's a lot. I don't know why. I really, really rocked with those.
But the problem is like, you know, those games came out because Tony Hawk was successful. You know, they try to capitalize on that.
Wasn't it made by the same people?
I believe so. Yeah. So, like Neversoft, I think.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So yeah, Activision, Neversoft. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
I mean, who knows? Maybe if this Microsoft-Activision deal goes down, we might see some more.
We're not getting no Matt Hoffman. Let's just get that out the way now.
Yeah,
that's such a like niche thing. Video games cost way too much money now for you to make that maybe $1 million. Nah, bro.
Closest we'll get to that is Riders Republic, dog.
Yeah,
Facts.
Riders Republic.
Facts.
Yo, Riders Republic. That game is fun to play, but like,
It is fun.
But see, even that's a testament to what I'm saying, right? Riders Republic, actually a good game, right? Way more stuff to do in it than like just the BMX game, and it's kind of a flop, right? Like I don't hear anybody play it. I don't hear anybody talk about it. Ubisoft ain't really touting it like that. Yeah, it's a flop. So I don't know. We won't get those types of things. I feel like it's just Tony Hawk and Skate. Those are the only two games of that ilk that can exist right now.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Unless you create something like completely like crazy, wacky. I mean,
If they give us a proper RPG, I think that would go over, but they never do that.
I don't even know
Ever.
how. I wouldn't even know what that would look like in a sports game
Well,
like that.
specifically like with the skateboarding and all that type of shit. I mean, I think you create a character, you have them living in some city, and you kind of do it like My Player mode almost in a sense, but instead of basketball, you're going around the city doing skateboard shit. You know what I mean? Like I think that could work decently if the story's good enough.
I feel like,
You know?
but I feel like that's only a thing that can work in those two games I mentioned, like a Tony Hawk or a Skate. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like you can't be a newcomer out here doing that. Like I just don't think it works. Like there's been a couple random skateboarder games and snowboarding games, like what Skatebird. There was that other snowboarding game that came out on Game Pass some
That
while
shit
ago.
that's the fail off rip. Why you name your game Skatebird, Brett?
I mean, you gotta have a thing, right?
But like, those are like,
Gotta have a thing. You're
Come
skating
on,
as a
man.
bird. People like animals, you know. Honestly, I think they probably should have went with the cat angle because we know people love cats. I mean, shoot, if Stray can get conversations for Game of the Year, then I guess maybe you can, make a good skate or a successful skating game off of you skating as a cat. I don't know.
I'm telling you, I don't know how Stray did that shit, man. I really don't. But I don't want to get crucified out here. Sorry in advance, because I know some cat lovers out there that ain't trying to hear that shit.
Nah, you can come for me. That's just so whack. I don't care.
I don't
man.
get it,
Nobody
but
says.
yeah.
We got two friends. I hope they watch it because you know who I'm talking about. Y'all was over here banging the drum for some Stray. Get out of here, man.
Game
Get
of the
the
year.
hell out of here. Anyways, pivoting to some other stuff here. I mean, the main two things we really want to talk about this episode are the big Starfield announcement that happened today, and then also talk a little bit about the Activision Blizzard stuff that's been creeping up. But I want to kind of get into something that we haven't done in a while, largely because it's almost always the same answer, but we literally haven't talked about it in forever. So I just wanted to go around a little bit and talk about what each of us are playing. Manny, I pretty much know what you're playing because it's the same thing I'm playing. Chris, I know what you're playing, but I don't fully know what you feel about it. So talk to me a little bit, man. What's going on with Destiny?
Yeah, I think I've been splitting my time between that and Hogwarts. So all right, a person like me who's pretty much like a fiend for the game, almost in a sense. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna probably find things that I like. Right?
Ooh, that's a bad start. I'm sorry.
No, but you knew this was coming, bro. Come on,
I know, but it's a bad start because the way you said it was like it's an obligation. I'm obligated to play it.
Coming.
Yeah.
Come on, all right, so I'm gonna buy this shit because I'm me. You know what I'm saying? That's how that works. But I think the biggest thing that they kind of flopped on a little bit is some of the dialogue choices and things like that in the storyline. And another thing that fucks it up is that it's held in its regard to the previous DLC, which was The Witch Queen. That shit got rave reviews everywhere, and it was very well done. The story well done. It moved along everybody's character arcs in some ways. I thought it was a good little DLC. It was straight. And then we got this, and a lot of this shit is cool. Saying, the Strand super shit, that shit is actually a cool subclass. It's very high risk, high reward, I would say. Like it's, or not, I shouldn't say that. It's got a skill ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like if you actually get good at it, you're gonna be nasty in the Crucible because you're literally just flying around. Especially them fucking hunters, man. Them motherfuckers, man. They literally are in there like Spider-Man in the Crucible right now.
Let me ask you a question though. Has anything changed about Crucible? Anything at all?
Well, they reverted a lot of changes that they actually made in the past, so that's not the biggest thing. So, but they did do that.
So it's even more
Obviously,
like it's even more like it was than it ever. Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
no, but not in a bad way though. I think these changes that they reverted because they didn't need to make them in the beginning. Like, why did you nerf sliding with a shotgun? You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't need to do that. So shit away. Um, that's good. A lot of quality of life stuff, right? So like, they gave us loadouts finally. God bless. You know what I'm saying? Like, we finally can save a loadout in Destiny for whatever activity you're doing, and you can pick it on the fly. It's fucking amazing. You can do it in game now. It's great. The mod system now is also far simplified and it's much better. I think they've done a good job of making that in a sense where like it's more RPG-ish. Like you can really make a good build now and then save it and not have to worry about any of that bullshit later on. Like it saves you so much time of being able to do the loadout, man. And they give you 10 slots to save different things that you come up with.
I'm surprised you even gave me that much as being new, but I'm assuming no new modes, no new.
No new modes. The new raid is coming out soon. I think this weekend. I can't wait to watch the world's first on that though, because I hear this shit is gonna be intense. Yeah, but not a lot in terms of like a new game mode or new kind of weapon or anything like that. They're relying a lot on the story and whatever they give you with the strand stuff and the quality of life changes.
I need Destiny 3. I need Destiny 3 at this point.
I'm ready for it. There's a lot of little stupid limitations, I guess, in their framework that they could, I think, just get around if they just made a new game.
It's just I just feel like they lost like for me they lost what makes it interesting and like there's nothing like you're relying on like what how old is this game at this point? 6 years, 5 years?
It's like like 7 to 8, I want to say this at this point.
Yeah, you're
It's been going
relying
for a
on
while.
like the same mechanics that worked in a 7-year-old game and like everything's changed, you know, like I don't know, it's just it's boring now, unfortunately.
I will add a new mode at some point, my damn self, because like remember I told you my idea for the VR, and I was like,
Yeah.
if they put some shit like this in this game, it's crack. All of a sudden, all over again, this shit is crack. I don't think that they focus on those things, man. Unfortunately, I couldn't even really tell you what their focus is right now. But the story
It's a new
itself,
game. That's what their focus is. I'm telling you, it's a new
true.
game.
Matter. I know they probably put mad energy into that or whatever PlayStation wants them to kind of come up with or whatever. But like, the story is crazy. Like whenever they do this TV show, man, this shit's gonna be epic because they set up the witness almost like Thanos in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude popped up and the Traveler tried to leave, bro.
Didn't he try to leave before?
No, not leave the humans. It left the Fallen a long time ago. That's why they ended up being called Fallen because their real name was the Elixirs or whatever.
Yep.
But it tried to dip at the end of the season, and the witness popped out of nowhere and cut it off. And then there was like a little standoff in the middle of space, and like all that stuff. The theatrical shit is really really good right now, but it needs a little bit more meat and a little bit more potatoes. Pause. You know what I'm saying?
That's unfortunate, man. Because I really used to love logging on daily, and this now it's just meh. But
yeah.
All right. Well, I mean that's Destiny. Manny.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? Talk to me.
Before I talk about what I've been playing, can we talk about how Devin trying to get at Chris right now in the chat? Well, he's probably said that like 5 minutes ago, but you said you got the peanut butter and jelly fitted on right now.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know you. I didn't take it as him trying to get at him, but hey,
not trying to get at him, but you know, I just want to like
Top to John. I said that shit smooth.
My boy Chris.
Man. Paul.
Respect the fit, yeah. Respect the fit.
Yeah. But like me personally, I'm more of like that chunky peanut butter guy. You know, I'm a chunky man myself. But let's not get, carried away here. And then also later talking about the TMNT on Call of Duty crossover.
Yeah, we got you on Call of Duty a little bit later, Orlando. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we get you your fixing a Call of Duty. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later. So sit tight.
Since we're talking about games I've been playing lately, you already know, thanks to a current service that is pretty great value wise if you're looking to play some games for the price of like $10 to $15 a month. We're talking about Wulong Shlong Dynasty. That game right there is popping, if you ask me. I I played like my share full of like Neo or I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm just saying Neo.
It is Neo. Yeah,
Game called?
it's called
Wulong Shlong
Wulong.
Dynasty.
My
Oh,
man said
okay.
some
We
wild
got
stuff.
Make sure I heard that correct. You know what I'm saying?
Wulong Fallen Dynasty. Yeah,
yeah.
you heard with the Wulong Shlong Dong.
It's basically like I don't know if you ever heard of like Neo though, Chris, or what anybody watching, but like we'll just call it like a Souls-like game. The game's actually not bad. I'm having fun with it, getting my ass whooped constantly, but that's the point of it. It's like the definition of insanity, as my boy Boss once said.
Keep doing the
You're
same
just doing the
shit
same
over again.
thing, expecting different outcomes, and just keep getting my ass whooped every time instead of grinding to get my level up. It's fun.
It's a kiss, man. Good God.
Bro, it's not as hard as Elden Ring. And I keep saying that because in my mind I really do remember Elden Ring giving me fits. But today in particular, man, there was a couple bosses where I was really like I had to go take a walk.
Man.
I had to go take a walk.
I don't see like me personally. Like I've gotten to like the later parts. I don't know what part you on exactly, but like, well, did you fight Lubu yet? Like,
Don't ask me no names. My
okay,
guy. I don't remember.
this is one of those
names.
games that like you could just like get inside the story and you're just gonna have fun because the gameplay is actually pretty fun.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this made by the same people who did the Dynasty Warriors and all that?
It's made by Team Ninja.
There's a in that game called Lubu too. That's why I was like, huh?
Yeah, it's made by Team Ninja. Same people who made Ninja Gaiden and a couple other games. I don't think they did Dynasty Warriors, but
I don't think so. I feel like Dynasty Warriors is made by like I don't know. I get mixed up, but
Ninja Gaiden and Neo are like the two main games that
Ninja.
Yeah, Team Ninja.
Yeah, shout out Carbon. Carbon was talking about Neo. I mean, yeah, this game is hard. So,
dude, like fucking, he was whooping my ass for like at least like 6 hours. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was just sitting there fucking going in, just like just hoping I'm just gonna whoop his ass, but I'm getting my ass whooped. And then, was it last night or like 2 nights ago? It was another boss that like I was fighting, and like it was always like he would whoop my ass in the beginning, but then like I'm just like hitting combos, learning his moves, and then like in the end, like when I'm only like a hit or two away, like you just hit me with like that cheese, and I'm just like crying.
Bro, and they be going like Super Saiyan in the final like hits. They just start freaking out and keep doing their unbreakable moves, and it's like I can't keep up with all these deflects. Like I gotta be mashing the B button at the right times, and I can't.
And it be getting me tight too because they be doing like unpredictable ass shit. Cause like in the beginning they be like 1 2 1 2. You know what I'm saying? So like it's kind of predictable, but then it's like dude just come out with like, okay, you want to be like that? I got you. Boom 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 boom. And then like you gotta like perfectly deflect all those moves at the same time. You're out here bashing the B button, and if you don't time it right, you're just gonna get your ass whooped. So like it is like the best feeling though when you do like deflections, perfect timing a lot, especially on those moves.
There ain't nothing better than when you get the deflections right. Like
Mm-hmm.
I freak. There's certain enemies where like they literally will hit you. Like there's the first one that I can think of off the top of my head is there's this bear looking thing that like swings at you like 5 times in a row. Getting the deflex right and then just like fucking them up afterwards. It's so satisfying. And then they have like these special moves. They call them martial arts, depending on the weapon that you're using. So like if you get a proper deflect, so I'm using these 2 dual blades, and one of my special moves is like he does a sidestep and then he just starts like going in with these like spin attacks. So it kind of acts as like a dodge for me. So bro, getting the timing right on that, it's it feels so good, bro.
I agree.
So there are a few things as good as that in gaming, and I think like I never really realized it. Like obviously it's no secret. Like I'm my love for Elden Ring in the past year, but the genre like those Soulsborne type of games, like I played a couple, but I never really dove into it as deeply as I dove into Elden Ring. And now I'm starting to realize that this might be like one of my favorite genres in gaming
Mhm.
because it's just like there's a lot of pain involved in playing the games, but like it's
Be
just
like that.
so satisfying when you just fuck shit up, bro. Cause like it's like super hard, and I mean honestly, that's like a large part of why most of us love gaming, right? Like there's challenges, you overcome the challenges, like there's um that dopamine rush of like like getting through like hard things and like achieving them or whatever. But for this game, it's I don't know. Games like this, it just feels different. Like beating a boss that like you fucking sat there and spent like 3 hours trying to beat and just whooping his ass, and you like walk over his dead body and like, yeah, bitch, like ah, it feels good. Feels
Drop
good.
a bag or two, maybe.
If I could teabag in the game, I would.
Hey, okay.
I'd
I'm
definitely be
not gonna
dropping them.
lie, it's fun. Like you just learning the boss's combos that's been kicking your ass, and then like when you just have everything down like to the fine line, just hitting all the perfect parries and stuff like that, and then like yeah, bitch, I'm the boss. Like that's the best feeling.
I get where y'all are coming from, even though I don't play those games like how y'all play, but that satisfaction thing y'all are talking about, it's not the same. But whenever I used to play Monster Hunter, I kind of get that same satisfaction from like, because you have to like learn each monster and like their attack pattern,
Mm-hmm,
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
when they're gonna fly, when they're gonna land, when they're gonna do all this dumb shit, and then to best it, sometimes it's like, yo, we did that shit, bro. Especially if you do it solo, shit's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, nah, I feel y'all. I feel y'all.
But the other game that I've been playing in addition to obviously Wulong is still Hogwarts. So Devin actually posed the question how far along you guys are in the game. I haven't beaten it yet. I want to say I'm like level 20 or something like that. I'm taking my time. I'm like being
Same,
very
yeah.
very slow with this game,
Savoring this shit.
savoring it cuz it's a lot of fun. But at the same time like there's only so much of it that I personally want to like push. I don't want to like push through to the end and like it be over and I'm like kind of sad about it. Like I really enjoy the game. Um, yeah, I'm just taking my time with it. Man, you still haven't gotten it, huh?
Nah, I think since we're basically a month out, I think I'm gonna just wait for the sale. It's
Okay.
not that like I'm glad that everybody's enjoying the game. It's just that Harry Potter as a franchise itself hasn't like really caught my attention. Personally, like it's not just with the Harry Potter because like obviously Hogwarts isn't about those stories, but it's just more of like I'm
I get
not a
it. That
big like
world.
a
Yeah.
wizard like you know what I'm saying. So
What? That's a
That is
more
not how
that's
these
more
games are.
Wulong than.
well,
Oh man.
Boy, I think level I think 16, I want to say 16 or 17, one of the two. I just got my talent tiers upgraded. Like how you go to tier 2 and then tier 3 or whatever.
mm,
2 now, and I just got some new spells. No shame, but I'm definitely doing what you're doing. I'm taking my time with this shit just because it's playing out for me like a alternate movie almost. Like, so you have the Harry Potter films, you got the Fantastic Beasts films, and then you got this movie game film thing.
yeah.
It's playing out well, you know what I mean? Like, it fits right in with all the other IPs and shit that they got going on. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it. There's so many nooks and crannies that I have not like unturned yet. I see the puzzles everywhere, but I don't know how to do them yet, and I refuse to go on Google right now and try to figure them out that way. I got to at least try to figure some of these shits out. Like, for example, you know how they got that like that door thing that's in the school everywhere, and it has like different circles and like a triangle formation with like animals or something. Like, I don't know what the fuck that puzzle is yet. I figured it out,
So
but
I'll tell you like just real quick. There's a key to it.
okay.
There's like yeah. It's like if you explore enough, you'll get like if you know. Put it to you like this: each symbol has a something attached to it. So like if you look around enough, you'll find like a
Mm,
basically like the key that you need to figure out the puzzle. So it's not something you're just
gotcha.
gonna like stumble through necessarily. You have to like find a particular thing, and then you'll be able to kind of unlock them all. So
Mm.
Why do they have those like spinning disc things that are near those doors that you have to like hit, and it gives you a different symbol on each of them.
When I say a key, I mean like a legend, like it'll tell you like, okay, this. I
Okay.
mean, I guess you could kind of figure it out, because I was like kind of when I eventually got the legend, like I was like, oh, I was just like, if I just flipped my thought process a little bit, I would have just figured it out on my own. But
Yeah.
basically, there's a piece of paper you got to find. Piece of paper kind of gives you the key to the whole thing. So,
Word.
but I was stuck on one of those doors for a minute, bro. I was like, this is fucking annoying. Like, I'm like, yo, like this should mean one, this should mean two, so on and so forth. And I did the whole math out of my brain. And then like I was like, fuck it, you know. And I went to go find another door, and I got pissed off. And then I turned the corner, and I just happened to see like the piece of paper like on a ledge next to that another door. And then after that, I just went back and started doing the rest of them. So stuff like that's dope. And like the other cool thing, like you mentioned, like like there's like a whole side of TikTok about this game. It's like, it's wild.
Yeah,
The types of shit that's going
some
on.
of the stuff is really funny.
Yeah, like people are like getting real creative with this game. But like somebody found like this secret section, like you have to go up on your broom in this tower or whatever. And I'm like, bro, like I don't know, it's just the fact that even after X amount of hours of playing this game, right? Like there's still all this random stuff that I haven't seen. Like, you know, when I go outside of Hogwarts itself and I'm just in the main map, like flying around in like parts of the world that I've never even set foot on, literally. Like I just fly over it every time, or fast travel from point A to point B. Like the game is really immense. Like I have to tip my hat to them. Like I wouldn't expect them to get that in depth with the game. Um, but yeah, it's like one of the few licensed, you know, like going from a movie to a video game. Like it's done very well. So I tip my hat to them for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, especially since their last game was Cars.
That's so random too. Like people always mention that, but
No,
it's
a
a
fun
minute
fact.
ago too. It's like years
Yeah.
ago. Like what were they
They've
doing?
clearly grown since then, for sure, in some way.
Mhm.
This shit. It's if it's not at least nominated for Game of the Year at the end of the year,
Oh, I'm sure it will.
problem.
Definitely. I'm sure it definitely be, unless like Jeff Keighley
depends.
don't want to like tip his toe into that like whole little controversy of, you know,
I
we
think
got
it
that.
depends on the game, the
Well, I
rest
mean,
of the games that come out this year. I think that's more what it boils down to. Because, I mean, also when we talk about Game of the Year is like a very, like there are a number of other publications that could nominate it or talk about it as far as Game of the Year. But I think at the end of the day, it boils down to what other games come out. Because right now it's in that category. But, you know, like next game we're going to talk about.
Stack.
Yeah, next game we're going to talk about is will very likely be in that category too. We got Spider-Man. We got, you know, like there's a couple of things coming. So you never know. But with that being said, pivoting over to the next topic here, we got we finally got a release date and a new trailer for Starfield. Microsoft and Bethesda have been, you know, holding out on us, for lack of a better term. Like we know the game was supposed to come out November of last year. It got delayed, and they supposedly said it was supposed to be coming out the first half of this year. And your boy right here was very very convinced that they were going to hold true to that, to the point where they even had put out like a support article, I want to say in January, mentioning that the game was still on track to come out the first half of the year. And then lo and behold, today we get an announcement. It's officially coming September 6th of this year. And not only that, but we're also going to be getting a whole Starfield Direct, like showcase on June 11th. Apparently, right after the Microsoft showcase. So at least we know we're going to be getting that showcase too. So, you know, obviously, very excited for this game. But goddamn, I am like super annoyed at the fact that it got pushed to September again. And like, I feel like they knew that they were going to push it to September. So why not just be more forthcoming about it sooner? That shit like irks me. Really irks me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Manny, I'll start with you on this one.
So like, it is kind of disappointing, you know. Like we seen a lot of it last year's showcase. We've seen like a little gameplay, like bits of it, and you know, I believe in a showcase they said everything you see will happen with, you know, will all come out within a year span. Last time I checked, you know, I count the months in September, it doesn't add up to a year, you know. So I'm kind of disappointed in that aspect because like we're pretty dry on the Microsoft side. We haven't really got any bangers when it comes to like their own first party exclusive, except for like Hi-Fi Rush recently was a pretty good, shadow drop that we got. But in the end, it's like we're expecting these games to come out. We still don't even have a release date for Forza, but that's a whole different thing. That's we're talking about Starfield right now. But I was saying like when we're texting the group chat earlier, just like talking about this whole thing. I feel like it makes sense because Redfall is coming out in May. If you were to try to release this like within, like April, May, or June, then that can potentially take away all the hype from Redfall and lead that game to die per se. Like
Mhm.
at least Redfall can take over from May to the summer. If they are pretty, um, consistent with the content and updating the game and stuff like that. So we're hoping that at least Redfall will hold us over. We're still waiting, on the Forza stuff, but
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what we have here for not Redfall, Starfield. To see what the showcase about, how long it's going to be, like what they have, to explain to us, why it took so long, and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, in the end, it did look pretty good when the trailer they gave us, how like Todd Howard was talking, they had a little gameplay in the background, and the game looks pretty good. So at least I mean, who knows? That could be like on a high end 4090 PC, but.
you're right. You're right. But it looks smooth. It looks smoother than the gameplay that we saw at E3 last year. Right? Like to the point where people were like, pixel peeping on that old footage, and they were like, it looks like the game's running at 30 frames, and
Mhm.
those same people pixel peeping now, and they're like, okay, this looks like it's actually running at 60. So, a little different reception at least around the gameplay footage that we're seeing. But I also remind myself like we literally don't know anything about this game still, right?
Mhm.
Like they gave us, we've had multiple trailers. They have like these like quarterly little documentaries or whatever. We still don't know jack shit about this game. And I think a lot of us have made some assumptions because we played Fallout, we played Skyrim, whatever. We know the pedigree of the studio. Even some of the clips of things that we've seen, like we can kind of deduce. But at the end of the day, we don't know anything about this game, and there's a reason why this game's taken so long. It's the first IP first brand new IP Bethesda's had in years. Todd Howard, like he's a pretty legendary game designer. Like him making something new is exciting, right? Like him making
Mhm.
something new from the ground up. And I think there's a lot of wrinkles that we will probably have never seen before in games, and I'm excited to explore a lot of that stuff. I do think it's gonna be it's obviously going to be a big deal, regardless if the game is successful or not. Let me rephrase that. Whether it's good or not, it's going to be a
Mhm.
big deal, just because a lot of people, have reported that this game is like part of the reason why Microsoft went ahead and bought Bethesda. Obviously, there's way more to it than that, but like I think this is going to be one that we'll be talking about for a couple years. I mean, if Bethesda can go ahead and make Skyrim and have that game literally be like a 10-year game where we're getting like all different types of versions of it down to the point where like people were playing it off of a smart speaker, like stupid stuff like
Mhm.
that, like you hit that level of recognition and that level of what's the word I'm looking for? Reverence.
Mhm.
Anything you do is going to get scrutinized and looked at through like a pick through like a fine tooth comb. Like it's just that's what you're going to expect from Bethesda game and something that Todd Howard has his name on. So yeah, I'm excited for Starfield. But
Mhm.
Chris, I know you said a couple different things in our chat today, so I
Yeah.
wanna hear what you're thinking
Um.
about it.
Yeah. Of course, disappointment again because it's being pushed back, but also, Manny made a good point about the fact that the timeline releases probably has a lot to do with that, or timeline of release. Um, I will also have to throw in there, man. This better be the last pushback,
Mhm.
folks. Man, it's getting annoying. At some point, it's like if you don't feel confident and it's not going to be ready or whatever, then just say that. I respect that a lot more, and it doesn't make me get all excited and shit for the game, and then it doesn't come out. Because I don't like going up and down in my incitement for a game, because eventually that shit's just gonna stay at one level, and then that's not,
Mm-hmm.
you know. However, yeah, I'm still definitely here for it though, for sure. I hope that it comes out when it's supposed to, and I agree. I think they're gonna try a lot of new things. with this game. You know, they said they built the engine from the ground up, and this is probably going to be the same engine that they're going to build the new Skyrim and the new Elder Scrolls and that stuff on. So I think they're trying to make sure that this stuff is right for the future as well. I think another big thing here with all the pushback and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know if I got this detail correct, but they said that in terms of the planets in the game, it's almost like a generator that just keeps generating almost an infinite amount of planets, almost kind of like No Man's Sky, right?
Yeah, literally like No Man's Sky.
Now knowing Bethesda, right? We know that they be, you know, a little buggy, right? Way in hell. I don't care how much playtesting they do. Ain't no way in hell that we not getting a game that got a shit ton of bugs in it when it comes out. That's how Bethesda games are, but like I don't expect a Cyberpunk type of situation, but I think they're just trying to really iron out all this stuff to make sure that this game doesn't come out with any kind of negative.
Yeah,
you know,
that is in my eyes. That is exactly why we're getting this game in September. That is exactly it. Because looking, and obviously, you know, he was playing a vertical slice, whatever. But like the game that we saw behind Todd Howard when he was talking, that looks like a pretty finished game to me. And I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft was holding it back on purpose to say, all right, let's iron out every single goddamn bug.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that we're not leaving anything on the cutting room floor. You know, like it just at this point, a company like Bethesda now being a part of Microsoft, it's not like you're like hurting to meet some fiscal deadline or something like that, right? Like that's because that's a lot of times. Let's be real. That's a lot of times what's happening when some of these games come out is, you know, they're beholden to shareholders. Those shareholders only care about money, and you know they're racing to get a game out so that they can get whatever revenue from it. Microsoft's not in that situation, right? Like they can sit on whatever game they want to sit on for as long as they need to, and you know make sure that it's right. Now, have they done that in the past? Not necessarily, but you know we know that from a financial perspective, like Microsoft's not hurting for money in any way, shape, or form. So you know they're not in a rush to push this game out just as a cash grab. So I do think that's what's happening in this moment. And I think that, you know, Todd Howard and Pete Hines and the guys over there at Bethesda understand that they're not, you know, beholden to shareholders in that way right now. So they're taking as much time as they can. And I think this will be one of the I'm really hoping this is like one of the first few games that we could say like, you know, this isn't a buggy Bethesda game. This is like completely polished. You know, it's inevitable that there'll be some bugs, right? Like obviously, but you know, for it to be as polished as it possibly can be. I think the only game I can think of in recent memory, and I know I'm always talking about this game at this point, but the only game I can think of in recent memory that I didn't have many bugs with was Elden Ring, right? Like that game came and it was completely finished from top to bottom. You know, there's a couple patches to change certain things with balancing and so on and so forth, but I don't remember there being any issues with that game except for maybe the first day when we were all trying to join each other.
Oh, that was the worst.
Yeah, like but like that was more of a server issue as opposed to like bugs, you know? So I'm hoping that we get to that point with Starfield. But at the end of the day, you know, what I really want to know about, because you know I'm over at this point, I'm over the fact that it got pushed back. I'm just like, just get it to me when you need to get it to me, because like we said, we don't want a cyberpunk situation, we don't want another buggy game. But I just want to know what's gonna be different about this. What's gonna be new? Like, are they gonna hit us over the head with multiplayer out of nowhere? You know, like that would be kind of interesting. I mean, it would also like cause me to worry because I would think that there might be even more bugs because there's multiplayer. But still, it'd be cool to, you know, like explore the galaxy with my friends and shit like that. You know, in a similar way to what people have been doing with No Man's Sky. I'm just curious what's gonna set this game apart. Like I want to see what's
I have
different.
a guess. I think one of my guesses, I would say, or I guess wishes, hoping that the flight mechanic for when you're flying your ship from place to place is like the equivalent to what like Anthem had for like the suits, meaning like they've just ironed this shit out so well that it just feels great when you're doing it. I don't know about you all, but a lot of times I'm playing a lot of these games where like they give you that option to be able to fly between planets or whatever.
Yeah.
Rare that it feels good. It's very rare that it feels natural. They don't get the haptics right on none of that shit right ever. Like stuff like that needs to be done very, very well. When your ship hits debris, all that kind of bullshit takes a hit from another ship. When you lose a piece of the ship in a fight, like all that stuff, like I feel like matters. Or this, maybe this is an easy way to digest it. Yeah. Forza put a lot of work into the details of everything around the car. I kind of need the flight mechanics to almost be like that. Because to me, if they do pull that off, no other game has close to that, in my opinion. I have never played a game, even the Squadrons game, the Star Wars one. Like, feel good. It doesn't. I don't know. I wasn't really a big fan of how they did that one either. So
I don't really
I think they have
remember
a lot of opportunity to take some of the things that we've had in the past and just like turn them on their head and kind of like run with them. I really, really feel like that, especially if they want you to spend so much time going between planets. Like, please give me a smooth experience with that. Like, I don't want no bull. Please.
I mean, I will say I actually thought the flight mechanics in No Man's Sky were good, but not like what you're saying, like immersive. I'm feeling my controller rumbling because the ship
Yeah,
is rumbling and like the audio, like I mean, it's just not that game. It's not built to be that kind of game. So
yeah.
that wasn't my expectation. But the flight mechanics itself were pretty good. So I mean, if they're using that as a baseline, which I guess at some level they probably should be, if they also have like
Yeah.
the procedurally generated worlds and whatnot in the same way that No Man's Sky has that. But I don't know. I guess obviously we'll see. I, I don't know. I really honestly I wasn't even thinking about the flight mechanics thing because I'm gonna be real with you. I'm probably gonna be fast traveling damn near everywhere.
Enough. I'm definitely trying to fly a lot. Like, that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah,
they
yeah,
get
yeah,
it right, then problem doing that shit if it's lit and
yeah.
it feels good to that, like, do so. Like, like how in Forza I was saying way back that like it's the kind of game where like if you don't really want to play a game that has a lot of pressure, you can literally play Forza and it's like leisure game to not have to think. You can just drive around and have a so
Yeah.
I hope that it's kind of like that. Like, you could just have a decent time flying around in space. They said that you're going to be able to fight other ships and board other ships and do all other kind of shit. Like, if you're going to give us all of that, make this immersive as hell, man.
What
Make
I would
it. Oh,
one
sorry.
thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say one thing I think would be really cool. I don't think this is where they're going with this, but because I feel like they're like creating a specific narrative. So I it's just a thought, or maybe something they can add on in the future. But imagine like I guess for lack of a better term, like an MMO, where okay, more specifically, it functions like Sea of Thieves, where you're like in the world with other people. You don't necessarily you run into them whenever you run into them, but like there are situations where if somebody like parks their ship on a planet, you can go on the planet too and like steal their ship and steal all the shit that they had in the ship. Like I don't know, I think that would be cool, like a space sized Sea of Thieves.
I'd be annoyed. Like, leave me alone.
Nah, because 76 isn't like, I don't know. Like there's just a different mechanic to Sea of Thieves and like having to be on the lookout for people coming and like stealing your shit like off your boat. Have you played Sea of Thieves?
I've had it downloaded a couple times, but I really don't think I've ever like played it.
I'd encourage you to try it because it's actually pretty lit. But like there are some moments where like you'll be out on a mission or trying to like find treasure or whatever, and then all of a sudden you'll go back to your boat and you notice it's sinking, and you're like, what the fuck? Why is it sinking? You'll like you'll take care of it. You'll look around and you're like, oh, like my treasure's gone, and then all of a sudden you see like somebody like sailing away in another ship. Like it's I don't know, like that stuff's cool, but also like
Yeah.
kind of anger inducing at the same time because then you're like trying to go chase them down, get your shit back, and that usually doesn't go very well because you have so much shit that you have to do before you can start sailing away. But still, it's just like that mechanic in a game like that is what makes Sea of Thieves interesting and unique. And then they have all their story content, whatever. But imagine something like that in space, like that adds such a different element and like. You get back on your ship and you're like, yo, where the fuck are all my weapons? And then all of a sudden you hear like this other ship just like charge up and it's like taking off and then boom, like just jumps into slip space or whatever, and like now you have to try to figure out where they are and get your shit back. Just a cool idea. I don't think that's gonna be in
No,
Starfield,
for
but
sure.
Yeah,
be something fun to
that
do.
that would be too much because I feel like they try to add something like that, it's gonna come out in another 5 years.
I know. I absolutely agree with you. That's how I'm like. I know it's not gonna happen, and I feel like the MMO slash multiplayer stuff, unless it's something that they've been building from day one, like it,
Yeah,
and that's the secrecy of this all is like it actually is way more immense than we think it is, and so on and so forth. But I mean, obviously, June 11th, we'll see what's going down. I'm also excited at the fact that like it's its own. So like we have the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, right? That's going to be happening before the Starfield Direct. So like there's going to be a ton of other games they got to show up, but they're actually dedicating like I'm assuming what will probably end up being like what an hour, 90 minutes. Sorry, to like completely talk about the game, and I'm assuming it's just going to be Todd Howard in camera doing his thing, like basically
yeah,
what he does best because he's like probably one of the best games presenters in the business. The way he's presented like Skyrim and Fallout and so on and so forth in the past. So I'm excited to see that shit, man. It's gonna be dope.
yeah, man.
But pivoting to our last topic, the last thing we're gonna talk about here, because we're almost encroaching an hour. So thank you guys for those of y'all who are still with us. Thank you for watching, of course,
Thanks,
as
y'all.
we celebrate this 100th episode and talk about the shit we like to talk about. So we got some more news on this Microsoft, purchase of Activision. A lot of fucking drama has happened since.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, bro. They announced this shit over a year ago. Over a year ago that they were about to buy this company, and like it still hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, a lot of
It's
roadblocks.
fucking annoying. I mean, they are actually roadblocks because I think from day one they said that it was supposed to close. I forgot what their terminology was, but it basically equates to around June of this year. So
Yeah.
like they are still kind of on track for that, but it's just like all the bullshit that's been happening in between
Mm-hmm.
is wild. So to kind of reiterate, I want to say what this happened like 2 weeks ago. So for those of you who don't know, obviously Microsoft is trying to buy Activision. So they would be the owners of Call of Duty, and a lot of people feel however they feel about it. We've talked about it before on here, plenty of different times, plenty of different ways. But within the course of time that we've talked about it, a lot has happened. Like the FTC is suing Microsoft for trying to buy this, and like that whole process is stupid and a complete hot mess. Um, but in the process of that, Microsoft has come out and said that they've offered Nintendo a 10-year deal for Call of Duty. So like 10-year um, day and date release of Call of Duty. It's also going to be on Nvidia's streaming platform, day and date for 10 years. And they've offered that same deal to, Steam also as well. But they've also offered that same deal to Sony. And we've been getting like way more news, like literally today about that deal in particular. So, so again, day and date, the game will release on PlayStation for the next 10 years. And apparently, today we learned that the deal also includes PlayStation's ability to add add Call of Duty to PlayStation Plus day one. So like it's not even there's no like competitive advantage for Microsoft at this point, right? Like around a Game Pass type of thing. They're just like, yo, if y'all want to put it in your subscription service, y'all can. But we know how Sony is with their subscription service, right? They've been on record saying like we feel like this should be for I forget what the term is that they use, but they basically said, our subscription service is for games that have come out, like months prior, and like, it's not for games that come out day and date, like first party games that come out day and date. But, at the same time, if you're interested in money and you want people to subscribe to your shit, why would you not take Call of Duty day one?
Yeah,
That
it's
shit is
definitely gonna sell.
wild, right? It would definitely sell. So it's just like, I don't know. The whole thing just seems so stupid.
And man,
Mm-hmm.
they're bitter and
They're
stuff.
super stubborn. So taking it to another thing that came out today too. So Sony's made claims, and this has all come out with the between the CMA, which is the UK regulatory body, and the EU's regulatory body. like they're trying to get those deals through in both of those places. So like there's all this documentation that's been coming out, yada yada yada, like all this like back and forth, catty, like petty shit,
Mhm.
you know, like our the toxic fanboys of the world are like you're really like chomping on right now. But it is interesting to watch, you know. So the next thing they're saying is Sony's come out and said like even with these agreements that are coming out, like these agreements that they're basically giving out to everybody, PlayStation is saying that Microsoft would, if they buy Call of Duty, they will release it on PlayStation, but they'll just release buggy versions of the game, right? Like buggy versions
Mhm.
of it on PlayStation so that more people will go play it on Xbox, yada, yada, yada. That sounds like something that PlayStation would do. I'm gonna be real with you, right? Because we've seen documentation that's leaked out saying that you have to make the game a little bit better on PlayStation than you make it on Xbox, yada yada yada. I just find all this so laughable. I find it more laughable that like these regulators are like actually having conversations about this. Like it to me, and it's maybe there's a little bit of bias here because I do lean more Xbox, even though I have both systems and whatever it is, what it is. But like it's just weird to me. Like if I don't know. So you have two companies in a gaming space, right? One of them is like significantly more popular than the other, right? Like I think what the numbers were saying during that case was like in the UK in particular, like PlayStation has like 80% market share and Xbox has 20% market share. At that point, why are you even listening to what Sony says? Like, right? Like they're
Mhm.
the leaders and you're being upset that like another company is like buying a company to try to compete in this space. I just find it really really odd, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point just because I just find it so funny. Like it's probably the one thing that we've been talking about. We haven't been talking about as much on this podcast that I've personally been keeping up with. But there's just so much news that it's hard to like have that be a topic every single week because there's always something like kind of trivial and random that comes out. But I don't know. The whole thing's just funny to me.
Mhm.
And I just want to make a point here. So uh let's see, my guy Herka Durka on Twitch here, he said if it doesn't go through that he thinks that they should buy Rockstar and Take Two. Yo, that's definitely not happening, my boy. That's
Nah.
definitely not happening. If they can't make this Call of Duty shit work, there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell they're gonna let him buy it. Like, I obviously Call of Duty is a bigger game, revenue wise, because it comes out every year and yada yada yada. But trying to buy Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah, no, that
man,
IP is serious, y'all.
man,
No,
Sony
no,
would lose
no,
their
no,
mind.
no.
No way.
Sony would
Mm.
lose their mind. I don't think that would happen for 1 second. But aside from that, guys, again, going around the room, Chris, I'm gonna start with you on this one here. I mean, we've had a lot of big laughs about some of this nonsense that's coming out of Sony, but I wanna hear what you got to say about all this.
Yeah, man, it's funny to me, man, because again, I'm not here for all the crybaby bullshit, man, and that's pretty much what a lot of this is. And at the end of the day, when you look at it from the outside, and it's Call of Duty was a cash cow for Sony. Call of Duty liked being able to
Mhm.
cash cow and use it how they wanted to, and do what they needed to do to get their money up. And now it's like they gotta get in bed with somebody else in order to like still get the same benefits. Pretty much all the same benefits, to be honest with you. Because it doesn't sound like Microsoft's trying to cut their throat with this. So yeah, it just comes down to stubbornness, man. It's just stubbornness. You don't want to have to go shake the hand of this person that you've been beefing with for the last like 10.
Mhm.
That's really what it is. And you're mad that people are saying, hey, you got to shake their hand. Like, you got to do that. That's really what it is. And they're just like,
It's
I
so
don't want to
dumb
do
though.
it. That's what it is.
I
This,
mean,
you
you're
know what I
right.
mean?
That's
Like, I
exactly
don't.
what it is. But it's just like it doesn't make any sense because you're already like
Like,
partnering
come
with
on,
them
bro.
in a lot of things. So like Minecraft releases on PlayStation. They're releasing that new Minecraft game that they just talked about earlier this year on PlayStation. Like I just doesn't it doesn't add up to me. Like you have all the Bethesda games they've made deals with, so like Ghostwire Tokyo released, Deathloop
Mhm.
released. You already have a relationship with Microsoft. Microsoft has released multiple games on PlayStation platforms at this point in time, or own
Mhm.
companies that have games that are still actively on their stores, right? So like what are you doing at this point? Like what arguments are you making? And the other thing, I know you're about to say something, but just the other point I want to make real quick is Sony has like these marketing agreements that they pay money for to, say like, all right, make sure like, you know obviously we can market the game, you get a couple exclusive things, maybe make sure like the game works well on our system, yada yada yada, right? Now all you have to do is sign this paper, sign this piece of paper, and basically, yeah, you lose the marketing rights, but like Microsoft's gonna allow you to go through and put the game on your subscription service. They're gonna say like, okay, like the game is going to have to be, feature complete between both versions. Like, so no version can be better than the other. Microsoft's willingly going out there and like allowing you to sign these agreements because they did this before the regulators even stepped in. They had this stuff on the table before regulators stepped in. I think the only difference was that they switched it from 5 years to 10 years, whatever. But like, I don't know. It's just like, what are you punching? What are you punching around for? What are you like wailing and like crying about? Because in my eyes, right? Let's say this deal doesn't go through, right? You fucked up the money of all the shareholders at Activision, right? They're now losing out on a payday of being bought by Microsoft. Why
Mhm.
would they ever want to do business with y'all again? They probably release their games on your system, whatever. But you fucking up their money. Why would they want? They're not doing exclusive agreements with you no more. They're not. They're probably not gonna like. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. But like, let's say we're really getting down to the petty shit of it all, right? Why would they fuck with y'all at the end of the day? Why? It just wouldn't make absolutely any sense to me. And y'all worried about losing Call of Duty? What if, and again, this won't happen. What if it doesn't go through and they're just like, you know what? Fuck PlayStation. We're not even gonna release it on there anymore. There's no legal obligation for Activision at this point in time to release games on PlayStation. So what if they just took their ball and went home? And now Microsoft gets exactly what they want without having to shell out the $69 billion. It's crazy. It's
Mhm.
absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
This won't happen because that's not how business works. But
Mhm.
there will be some ramifications from all this if it
Yeah.
doesn't go through. So I don't know. Manny, what you think about that?
I was like, I don't know if it was like a trustable article or whatever, but like I saw someone who was like, one of the biggest reasons why PlayStation is fighting so hard for Microsoft not to acquire Activision is because Call of Duty is like their main source of revenue for their first party games because of how much Call of Duty sells every year and all that stuff, which we know it's true. People always argue about, oh, we got better exclusives, but in the end of the day, always buy Call of Duty every year, and they're probably the type to play Call of Duty every year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I wonder how like much of that is true, like how much they make yearly based off Call of Duty, because of course they got some amazing first party titles, but like they're also they don't have like the budget like Microsoft does, where they can't show like as much money like a blank check and do whatever you want. So I can see why they wouldn't want to put it into not streaming,
And their
the
subscription platform. Yeah.
subscription. Yeah, because they probably won't make as much as they would when it comes to like customers just paying like $70 straight up. Because no matter what, people still gonna buy Call of Duty. In the end of the day, it's Call of Duty.
Right.
But
But by that
that's
logic, just don't put it in your subscription service and just have the people pay the money, right?
exactly.
Because I think what it is they said what Call of Duty makes like $1 billion in revenue on PlayStation, right? You're not losing that revenue.
Mhm.
The game's not going anywhere. At least not for 10 years. I really don't think there. There's no realistic situation in my eyes where Microsoft deal the 10-year deal is over and then all of a sudden they're like, all right, no more call. Like I just don't see that happening at this point, right?
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
just doesn't make a lot of sense. They're trying to make the money they can make off of PlayStation, right? But let's say that does happen. Let's say in your mind you really think that that's what's happening here. Those 10 years of agreements that you've been making with Activision, like the 10 years of money and revenue that you've been spending to have those marketing deals, put that money into making SOCOM. Put that money into making Killzone.
Mhm.
Put that money into making whatever it is that you think is going to be the next game to kill Call of Duty. Especially because y'all
Mhm.
just bought Bungie. Bungie is the
Yeah.
only like I mean, maybe not the guys that are there now, but like the Bungie that made Halo, the Bungie that made the OG Destiny, that pedigree, they've got the skills to take out those types of games, right? They've got the skills to go ahead and make a shooter that is the definitive shooter. Just go invest in that. Like The whole thing just makes me
Mhm.
annoyed.
It's so true because, like, you got the one argument was like, oh, Call of Duty's not gonna last in the next 10 years, and then the other argument was like, Call of Duty's not going anywhere. But the problem with PlayStation is, yeah, they make great first party games, but they always use the same formula, and they don't really like. At least now, I feel like they don't take as much chances as they used to have, like in the PlayStation 3 era, and it's hurting them, but it's not hurting them at the same time because, like I said, the formula works, but they do like need to go back and take some chances again. I remember Killzone being, one of the first person shooters. It was okay first person shooter, but like you build upon that game and use the budget that you've been making with this, as at least this article claimed, like, you make a shit ton of money with Call of Duty, now make your own first person shooter to counter that and make more money. Like they can easily do it. PlayStation has a heavy fan base, and they can even follow the trend of just making it free to play so that they can have sales and
Yeah,
like
but
other stuff like cosmetics and
right.
season passes and stuff like that. You get that source of revenue and you're golden as long as you make a good game.
Yeah, imagine they find their way to making their own Call of Duty and they got like I don't know, Kratos skins and Joel
Oh
Miller
yeah.
skins and shit like that in the game. Like that would sell. It would sell. You have all these IPs, you could utilize it to sell like the microtransactions and all that stuff. I don't know. Imagine you run around in a Spider-Man mask, like
Hmm.
fragging dudes, and like and whatever the Call of Duty equivalent will end up being. Like I don't know. There's creative ways to make money, but at the same time, I bet you Sony might be doing those things in addition to
True.
just in addition to just crying the whole time. Because like this whole thing has been like a public display of bullshit, right? On both sides. On both sides. Microsoft is sitting there trying to act like, they're in like the worst possible position that they've ever been in. And obviously they're not in the best position in comparison to Sony, right? Like that 80-20 number is real in the UK, right? It's obviously way different here. It's way different in the US. It's way different in other parts of the world. Um but 80-20, that's a real problem in a big market, like if they want to consider the UK like a big market, that's a problem, right?
Hmm.
You don't want to have 20% market share to your competitors 80. But you do different things to try to move the needle or whatever, what have you. Obviously, in this scenario, both parties are just trying to make themselves look bad, right? Like PlayStation's over here talking about if we lose Call of Duty, all the players are gonna go to Xbox and we'll there'll be no more PlayStation. It's like obviously that's bullshit.
Hmm.
Jim Ryan knows that's bullshit. You and I know that's bullshit. You watching at home, y'all know this is bullshit, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, that's kind of what this is at some level. Like it seems like it's just kind of like seems like it's gamesmanship, right? To try to make yourself look as bad as possible to get regulators to do whatever it is that you know you want them to do. I think in the end of the day, obviously we've said it before. I think the deal goes through, especially when Microsoft is so forthcoming about just saying straight up, we'll allow you to have the game for 10 years, feature parity, ability to put it on subscription services, yada yada yada. And again, I think it's such a mistake to only focus on Call of Duty because there's so many games that Activision
Hmm.
and Blizzard own, man.
Yeah.
Diablo, Guitar Hero, Overwatch, like World of Warcraft. So many other games that, like we were talking about Tony Hawk, Matt Hoffman.
Yeah.
Like all these games that Microsoft could make exclusive if they really wanted to.
That's where I was gonna go with it. I was gonna ask you guys, do you guys think that it might just be a situation where they're actually more worried about those IPs and not so much Call of Duty? Because I think Call of Duty is the easy game for them to latch onto and be like, and because, but like I'm thinking if they take some of these games and really give them some new life, that's big. That's pretty big. It's not just a situation where you lost Call of Duty. You lost Call of Duty and all that other shit, and then all that shit becomes lit again. Then there is a whole another conversation that needs to be had in terms of who's got the better exclusives and this, that, and the third. And that's truly what they're gonna end up losing their grip on, man. They've kind of had that. They've had the crown on that one for a few years now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Wild.
In my mind, if that's what you're worried about, why not say it?
I mean, shit.
It's a better
You know,
argument. In my eyes, it's a better argument than saying Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, when publicly Microsoft has come out and said, "Hey, we have a 10-year deal for you. We already got a 10-year deal for Nintendo, who hasn't had Call of Duty on their platform in the last 10 years. Nvidia, who's never had Call of Duty on their platform, Steam, like Microsoft's done all the things that they needed to, like realistically, like being proactive about this whole, handing out all these different deals. It's like, okay, you have access to Call of Duty. If you're concerned with something else, say that. Like all this stuff is documented, right? Like between the FTC's complaints, the CMA, which is the UK regulator, and then the EU regulators, all that stuff's documented. And nowhere in any of that documentation has Sony referenced anything other than Call of Duty.
yeah.
So it's just you're shooting yourself in the foot if you are actually concerned about those other things. Now here's another reason why I actually think that they're not going to talk about those things, right? What games have Activision been making in the past 10 years? It's really mainly been Call of Duty. They haven't focused on any of those little franchises. So if anything, Microsoft going through and buying Activision basically solidifies that those games will get made. And like we I think Bobby Kotick even said it like the day or the week after the announcement was made. There will probably have never been another Guitar Hero game because Activision didn't have the infrastructure, the ability to go ahead and push something like that through. But Microsoft does now, and that's already a thing that they talked about. Like, what was the other game that Phil Spencer was talking about? Was it Hexen? Or maybe that was for the Bethesda thing. There was another game that Phil Spencer in particular had talked about that he was thinking about bringing back once they really get, control of Activision. So I think, even though I think Sony should be voicing those things, I think at the end of the day, the argument can be very, at least if you look at their history and what Activision has done, it's pretty clear that they weren't making more of those games, right? They closed down a couple different studios, oh my god, what's the name of the studio that was making Crash? Toys for Bob, I think is what they were called. I don't think they closed them, but they like fused them into another studio, and they were just taking all the studios and just making them Call of Duty support studios. So like that alone tells you they probably have no plans to utilize any of their other IPs. So now Microsoft's coming through and saying, "Hey, we will utilize those." It kind of kills that argument, but still, it's an argument I would make if I was Sony. But they probably, they got smarter people than me out there on their legal team, so they're probably telling them like focus on Call of Duty because all this other stuff doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know. There's a lot to it, I think.
Yeah,
man.
So they're gonna be looking kind of funny in the next couple of years because I tell you what, if y'all make this shit any more harder than you have to be, you're not making Microsoft want to play with you guys any more nicer over the years. If you guys keep on making this shit prickly, like just take the L, bro. Like stop being a baby, please. Golly. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it, but
I mean, there's a report that came out that said that the EU was likely going to approve the deal because of the concessions that Microsoft's willing to make. Specifically those 10-year deals that we're talking about. If I'm Sony and I'm seeing that report, and I'm sure they have like some intel there to know whether or not who's leaning what way. The moment I get an inkling that one of these, because the big three that everybody's waiting for is the FTC, the EU, and the CMA. FTC, the way they've gone about like suing Microsoft is really stupid. I think they're actually going to fail because they're not even suing them in like federal court. They're suing them in their own court system, and like I don't know, there's just a lot of stupid shit going on there. But anyways, if I catch wind of one of these, even just one of them saying they're going to approve this deal, I'm gonna be like, all right, hey Phil, Brad Smith, come on, man, where I gotta sign? Like, why are you fighting it that much anymore, right? Because if this stuff gets put through without having to sign all this stuff, again, I don't think Microsoft's gonna do this because we live in a world nowadays where like the public opinion matters just as much as anything. So I think without the deal on the table, Microsoft still will likely make the game available on PlayStation because they've been so vocal about how they want to, what's the thing they said? They want to bring more games to more gamers everywhere, right? That's their wording. And you know, even though I say that kind of flippantly, like they have been walking the walk, right? Like Minecraft's been available on everything since day one. So you know, I think they've been trying. So I do think that it will happen. But like, you know, if you are Sony and you're not signing this deal, what if they just decide to say fuck it? We're not gonna put Call of Duty on your shit. We're
That's what
not
I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're not gonna allow you to put it at the very least, like you're not gonna allow you to put it on PlayStation Plus because you didn't sign this deal. That alone is like, bro, that's such a that could sell your subscription service. And I get
Mhm.
maybe they don't want to do that, whatever, but like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
If you
weird.
think about it, how much mini I know you subscribe to, how much is like PlayStation Plus, the version that gets you the games?
I believe it's $15 if you're talking about the one that gets you like the monthly games as well as the catalog.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you're
15.
so if you're getting, I mean, $15 a month for a year is worth more than just shelling out what $60-$70 one time, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, Sony could make a lot of money off of that, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Exactly. You throw that in there, and people are gonna sign up no matter what because it's Call of Duty.
yeah,
that is true. Very true.
they got their own philosophies about it. But you know, what are you guys out there thinking about this? You know, I haven't seen oh, what's the last thing my guy Herka Durka said? Overlay the same technology they use for Flight Simulator. I'm assuming you're talking about Starfield, which we were talking about
Oh,
in our
word,
previous
word.
thing. I mean, that would be kind of fire. I know we're
That
like
Ooh.
jumping back between topics here, but that would actually be kind of fire. I mean, um, yeah, Flight Simulator is pretty good.
yeah.
I don't know if it was like I don't remember feeling as immersed with like the controller vibrating or anything crazy like that, but I did like what they did with the flight mechanics. So if you could find a way to translate that to like space, yeah, that'd be fire. That'd be fire.
Cosign.
Yeah, I'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely co-sign that. But yeah, I don't know. Talking about the Activision stuff again, real quick. Is there any games you guys can think of that I know we've done this before. I know we talked about before, but for me, it's gonna be Guitar Hero. I'll tell you that right now. But are there any other games that y'all want to see kind of come back? You know, what we got Crash, we got Guitar Hero. Like I said, you know, there's all the Blizzard games that could make their way to Xbox. Anything in particular you guys want to see, even if it's like something that you want Xbox to do to Call of Duty, like anything.
I'm gonna have to look up some games because I have a bad memory of like what games they have. So
For some reason, I don't know why.
wait a minute.
I can see that.
So wait, Activision did Sekiro? Where have I been?
Yeah, they well for From Software made it, but Activision published it. So.
Yeah.
Ooh, imagine if that means we could get Sekiro on Game Pass. See now, should I wait to buy it? Nah, I gotta buy that soon.
Are the
I'm just,
division?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They actually made a collection before. I mean, you know, I'm looking at it right now. Prototype, you know, Prototype was a good series.
Mm.
Maybe that could come back. They have a lot of games, man. Like, they definitely have potential, but it's just more of just like nowadays it is expensive to make money, not make money, make games. So
It is, but when your pockets are as deep as Microsoft, you know, I guess it may not matter. So
No.
we'll see. We'll see.
Nope, they got big paper.
That's facts. I mean, I think. Well, yeah, we're over our hour here, so I think this probably is a good place to end it for now.
mhm.
Um, yeah, thank you guys who are watching on. I'm also streaming this on my own Twitch channel, just because the restream allows me to do it. So thank y'all who are watching on my Twitch channel at Black Ice 8. Thank you guys who are watching on the YouTube channel as well. You know, if you're watching, you know, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the little notification bell. You know, help us get our subscriber count up. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. We do this. Well, we don't do it live, but you know, every week we got an episode up. We might actually, you know, we've talked about it before. We might change up the format if this works
Mhm.
out well enough. You know, it's kind of cool to do it live. You know, have people giving us feedback and talking to us and stuff like that. So we might have to look into that
Yeah,
in the
in real
future. But
time. That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if y'all like that, let us know. You know, let us know in the comments and all that good stuff. But until next time, guys, we'll check you guys out next week. Thank you for watching
Yeah.
and for listening. Peace. Oh, we can't go until we hear Manny. Go ahead.
Look at his face. Look at his
He's
face.
waiting. He's winding up.
Oh yeah.
All right.